everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you have ever wanted to build a mobile app using JavaScript, chances are you have heard about React Native and Expo. Today we are going to look into these two frameworks and going to explain what exactly are Expo and React Native, why should you use them, and how do you get started. Let's start with the basics. React Native is a framework developed by Meta, or as known Facebook, that allows you to build mobile apps using JavaScript or TypeScript and React. It has also cross-platform features, right, which means that you write once your code and then you can run it on iOS and Android. It also uses JavaScript and React, so no need to learn Swift or Kotlin. And it also has native-like performances, uses real native components. React Native is perfect for developers who love React.js and want to build mobile apps with familiar syntaxes. What is Expo? Expo is a framework and toolchain built on top of React Native that makes developing apps easier and faster. It also simplifies setup, no need to install Android Studio or Xcode initially. It also have pre-built APIs like access camera, push notifications, location, and many more. And it also have a sandbox environment called Expo Go app, testing your app instantly without compiling. You can think of Expo as a shortcut. It removes complexity and lets you focus on building your app faster. Now that we know what these tools are, let's talk about why you should use them. So first of all, why React Native is because it's cross-platform. It's one code base for Android and iOS. It also makes development faster with hot reloading and reusable components, and it also has a huge ecosystem, thousands of libraries and strong community support. And of course then why Expo? You no need for Android Studio, Xcode initially, just install Expo and start coding. It also helps with faster testing. Scan a QR code and see changes instantly on your phone, and it also has pre-built APIs. No need to write native code for features like camera, locations, or notifications. But of course, Expo has some limitations too. If you need full access to native code, you might need to eject Expo or basically make a pre-build where you can switch to bare React Native. But more on that later. So how to set up and use Expo with React Native? So first we need to have Node installed in our machine, but if you followed along my previous videos, you already have NVM and Node installed. So let's see if we have a Node installed in our machine. Yes, we do, and now we are using the 18.20.7 version. So since we have Node, we can install Expo. Typing npm install -g as in global Expo CLI. That will install Expo on our machine. Okay, so it seems that now it complains about our npm version. So since we have other npm versions, we can just change our Node version. So write nvm list. We have a newer version 22.14. So nvm use v22.14.0. And just in case, install again Expo CLI. So first, what we could do is now we can initialize a project using Expo. How you do that? Write Expo init my demo app. Here we can choose from a few templates. So in our case we can just use, let's use just tabs TypeScript. As you see, now our project has been initialized. But you also can see that now there is this deprecation warning. So now let's do it with the recommended way. copy Expo init instead of create. Alright, so now we have two projects initialized by Expo, but since we don't have any Android or Xcode installed on my machine, I would highly doubt that they would run, but let's check them out. So, unless you see that we have these two new folders created for us, you just go cd into it, to my demo app, and then let's write npm run web. I think web should run. Okay, we allow Google Chrome. Alright, so as you see, now we have a project initialized by Expo running on our machine on web. But if you would like to run this on an Android or iOS simulator, you would need to have Android Studio installed and Xcode installed. So now let's just do that. So first let's install Xcode. What we need to do is go to App Store, write Xcode, and then you see there's a few other options, but I would basically go and get test flight, app developer, and also Xcode. Alright, now that Xcode is installed, let's open it. First, we're gonna agree to the terms, and then you click download install. Alright, then you click continue, and then now you have Xcode. So here in Xcode, what we need to check is what are our current settings. We need to add an account. Then under components, we need to update our device support. And as for Xcode, same as before, we plan to keep it in the dock. So as you see here, we have here the iOS 18.2 plus iOS 18.3.1 simulator. You should get that one too. Now that the simulators are installed, let's relaunch our Xcode. Now it prompts us for installing the system components. We press install. Alright, so let's check our simulators. Now we have multiple simulators ready for us. Alright, now that everything is installed, let's try to run our application in an iOS device. Okay, it says it's still not okay. And we should check what Google says about this. Interesting. So it suggests that we need to assign the command line to. Let's try to run our Expo project on our iOS device again. And now, as you can see, we are able to run your Expo projects in an iOS device. So next, we need to check also the Android side of it. For this, we need to install Android Studio and also the Android simulators. So for that, we need to close these, close all the Xcode related stuff, stop the command line, hit Control plus C, and then let's go for Android Studio. Click on Download Android Studio Merkat. Click I have read and agreed with the above terms and conditions, and then download your version. Alright, then double click on the installer, drag Android Studio into the applications, close this window, and then from the launchpad search for your Android Studio. Click open. Usually I prefer not to send analytic data. Click next. I will go with custom. We have to install all the virtual device and of course the SDK. The default SDK location will do. Click next. And then accept. And then accept. Click finish. Now that the download is completed, click finish. Alright, so now we're gonna use a command called npx expo prebuild. This will generate us both native iOS and Android folders. This is going to install us some more dependencies that we might need on iOS side, and also that some on the Android side. Folders are generated. Let's open the folder in our Android Studio. And now here we're going to check if we're gonna have our SDK properly installed. You're gonna click SDK command line tools, click apply and press OK. Click finish. And then here on the SDK platforms you see different Android emulators with different API levels. These API levels means that it runs in a certain version of Android, and each Android has a tiny bit of difference in terms of like feature and how and what's actually supported. In our case, as far as I remember, I think currently the minimum supported API level from Expo is 25. So you definitely want to grab that one. API level 30 as well. And then just click apply and then OK. Once our SDK is installed, now you can click finish. So now we need to install Watchman. once our Watchman is installed, we can skip the brew install, because that's installing Java version 17, which we already have installed if you have previously followed along our videos. And then now we're gonna edit our Z profile. So write nano. Let's copy these commands. And then now you can press Ctrl X and then press Y and enter. You can source the changes. Let's check if our IADB command runs. Yes, it does. And then now our only thing is to set up our virtual device. So to create a virtual device, click on Device Manager. And as you see, we already have one installed, but if you want, we can add a new device. So create a new device. Let's say, make it Pixel 4. One thing to note, that when you see this icon, that means it has App Store installed, and it's highly recommended that you use an Android which has an App Store installed, because if you need to install other applications or other tools that you need during your testing, then in other phone versions when you don't have these App Store installed, you will not be able to do it. The other important information here is the API level. Now I'm just gonna choose Pixel 4 with an API of 29. I will write here API 29. And as you can see, you can also choose from here. And you can click finish. Click finish. And then now we can try again. So npm run Android. As you can see here, the phone is booting up, and it's basically this little icon. As you can see on the left side, it's going to download us still some more dependencies which we need in order to run this project, and it will be installing the NDK side-by-side 26.1, which is essential to run this Android project. So now, as you can see, our application runs on the Android emulator, same as before. And now we have this small application working here. Previously we have installed Visual Studio Code. That's my preferable choice of IDE for React Native and Expo applications. So let's just open our project. Go to Desktop, Projects, My Demo App. Click Allow and trust the authors. As you can see, there's already quite a few things happening here. We have .expo, we have Android, we have iOS. These folders are generated for us and they are handled by Expo. What we're gonna work on is basically your app, assets, components, constants, and your node modules, again generated by npm when you are installing your packages. So let's quickly just change something in our application. So you see how does this work. So as you see, this is a very simple example code that's currently running on our application. If you see that this is our tabs index, which will be tab 1, and then let's change, for example, the title or some text in here. Come to my demo application. You just hit save, and then as you see, it instantly got updated. Let's change here also a little bit of text as well. Hit save, and then when you go to tab 2, you can see the updated information. Since now we verified that our installation works and we are able to run the application on iOS, on Android and on web, now we are ready to create something new in our next video.